It was a year ago that the investigative team filed a grand jury petition with the chief judge in Genesee County, which was granted. Then the grand jury listened to all the evidence, which got us to this point. The grand jury process began in January 2020, 7 months after the first round of criminal charges were dropped. Continuing our team coverage now, ABC 12's Ann Perrette joining us live from downtown Flint. Ann, do we have any idea just how much this second investigation would cost taxpayers?
I asked that question to the investigative team this morning and did not get a direct answer. Now, we know that taxpayers footed the bill the first time around, that investigation beginning in January of 2016. 3 years later, the new team took over in 2019 when a new attorney general took office, and they made sure to point out today that they chose to use that grand jury process because it would be the most effective use of the taxpayers' dollars.
People need to understand there will be no preliminary examinations on the felony charges. Those cases will go directly to circuit court.
If you can remember, the previous 15 cases took quite some time to make their way through the court system due to those preliminary exams. Not only was scheduling an issue, but defense attorneys also had the right to question evidence and testimony throughout the hearings, and they did so repeatedly. 3 cases did make it to trial, but as we know, all pending cases were dropped so the new Attorney General's team could start from scratch. Special Prosecutor Todd Flood was also fired, in part because Solicitor General Fadwa Hammoud and Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy would cost less.
It was not an outside lawyer that billed by the hour that did this case. This was done by seasoned prosecutors who are on salary and get the same salary whether they worked 40 hours a week, 80 hours a week, and many 90 hours a week. So there was no overtime.
We used those resources to also hire experts, world-renowned doctors in infectious disease to help us in investigating the Flint water crisis, and made sure that we used every resource at our disposal to give them the investigation that they deserved.
Now, 2 years after they took over, 5 years since any investigation into wrongdoing began, when will the city of Flint see justice?
I know that the judges here in this county are committed to doing this as expeditiously and efficiently as they can. It's really an impossible question to answer because of the pandemic.
And another question I asked, is it cost effective to charge the former governor when ultimately he only faces up to 1 year in jail or up to $1,000 fine? That answer coming up tonight at 6. Live in Flint tonight, I'm Ann Perrette, ABC 12 News.
Starting with breaking news.
There are no velvet ropes in our criminal justice system. Nobody, no matter how powerful or well-connected, is above accountability when they commit a crime.
Developing tonight, a second round of criminal charges tied to Flint's lead-tainted water and a deadly Legionnaire's disease outbreak. 9 people charged in all. The 3 biggest names: former Governor Rick Snyder, former Michigan Medical Director Nick Lyon, and former Chief Medical Executive Dr. Eden Wells. Investigators today calling it one of the largest criminal investigations in the world. Tonight, we have a team of reporters covering all angles for you, from who's charged with what, why these specific charges were picked, and what people who lived through this crisis have to say about today's announcement. To lead us off is ABC 12's Ann Perrette. She is diving into the charges former Governor Snyder is facing. And Ann, for years, our community has demanded that he be held accountable, and that happened in a sense today.
Angie, Rick Snyder is charged with 2 counts of willful neglect of duty. Now, these are misdemeanors. They carry a sentence of up to 1 year in jail or up to a $2,000 fine if Snyder is convicted. Now, today we did ask if harsher charges were considered, like involuntary manslaughter. The team said that they could not comment, citing the grand jury process.
This is an ongoing investigation. And if there is evidence that would prove that a crime was committed, we will surely go where the evidence will lead.
We also didn't get a direct answer on if the statute of limitations could prevent new charges. For now, Michigan Solicitor General Fadwa Hammoud says her team is confident in the charges they've brought, pointing out they went through millions of documents, several hundred electronic devices, and utilized world-renowned infectious disease experts to analyze the many Legionnaire's disease cases and deaths.
We used every investigative tool at our disposal to investigate this case because the people of Flint deserved that we treat this investigation as the most important investigation in the world, and that's how we proceeded.
While she can't share the evidence that led to charging former Governor Rick Snyder, Hammoud did say he's facing the 2 counts of willful neglect of duty for failing to protect the health and safety of the Flint community. Since a conviction of these 2 misdemeanors only brings up to a year in jail or a $1,000 fine, I had to ask, is it worth spending taxpayers' money?
As to damaging effects on children that will follow them for generations to come, we didn't put a price tag or come in with a certain list of charges.
And the team made it clear that Flint's water crisis was a failure at all levels of government. So it was also asked why no members of the Genesee County Health Department or the EPA were charged. Hammoud said that she also could not comment on that, instead repeating that the team, quote, pursued a full and thorough investigation. Live in Flint, I'm Ann Perrette, ABC 12 News.